Okay, so we are turning our attention to our next session, which is a panel discussion. And I just wanted to say that I was very happy to see very young people here, students, and my alma mater Presec as well here, represented in this place. Yeah, but the MC said something very important, which has to do with taking notes and writing down something. Because at the beginning he was trying to engage you, and I was expecting young minds to really have questions or to really contribute something. So there will be an opportunity to ask questions after the panel discussion. So I want you to make notes, write down some questions, okay? I mean, you are young people, you should be very curious and you should be very inquisitive, And I also just wanted to say that, in our line of work, business news, you realize that when it's time to read the business news or to say what's happening in the business space, people usually tune off. They are not really interested. But in the last few years, it's become a go-to place for news when we say it's time for business news because of recent happenings in the financial space. So we all should be interested in what is happening in the financial space. And so just by way of introduction, once again, my name is Daryl Kwawu. I'm a business journalist with the Multimedia Group. Want to say a big thank you once again to the Center for Financial Literacy Education Africa for the opportunity to moderate this session. Just a bit of a preamble, and then I'll introduce our panelists, okay? We all know that managing money, understanding economics, and learning basic life skills are crucial, not just for personal growth, but for national development as well. Yet, here we are, and unfortunately, these skills remain seriously underdeveloped, both here in Ghana and around the world. And if you're wondering why some of us still don't know the difference between asset and a liability, don't worry, you are not alone. By the way, anybody knows the difference between asset and liability? Young people? Any hands? Hey, you are not confident. Okay, how about a budget? Maybe what's a budget? Anybody knows what a budget is? Hands? You are not confident about it. Okay, how about interest rates? Okay, how many of us have heard about DDEP, domestic debt exchange? Hey, I'm shocked. So you see that our communities, and especially young people like you and women as well, face, even not just women, but even the educated we are discovering don't know so much about the financial space. Even judging from what happened with the DDEP, you realize that the so-called educated are also caught in this web. We face very steep financial challenges, making this not just an education gap, but a development challenge of national proportions. And without the right financial education, we risk staying trapped in cycles of poverty, exclusion, and weak financial systems. And I believe that we don't want to be poor people. How many of us want to be poor? I don't see any hands. We all want to be rich people. So here's the good news. There's a way out. Countries with stronger financial literacy show that financial education leads to greater inclusion, lower poverty, and more robust financial system. And that sounds pretty good. So the big question this afternoon is why this isn't a national priority. And we believe that it's time to shift our thinking from awareness and motivation to actual action. And this, of course, means collaborating across all sectors: education, business, policy, and media. And so I want us to roll up our sleeves so that we can engage some more. Like I said, you should have questions to ask after this session. You should be curious. You should be inquisitive. And so let's dive right in. I want to introduce my panel. Reindorf, Annor, Partner, Accounting Advisory Services, KPMG. I want to welcome you to the stage. Put your hands together for him. Okay. All right, I think I can do it better. Let's also welcome Gilbert Agyei, Senior Manager, Deloitte, to the stage. Gilbert Ado, Senior Manager, Deloitte. Welcome to the stage. Put your hands together for him. Also, Ramat Ebella Whajah, Accra, Tema, Zonal Head of the National Investment Bank. Please put your hands together for her as well. Kokwi Bule, Chief Innovation and Strategy Officer, Prudential Life Insurance Ghana. Is she here? Okay, I don't think she's here. So please once again put your hands together for your guests, for our panelists, as we delve into the discussion. Thank you very much for being with us this afternoon. So, I mean, the theme for our discussion for this session is building wealth, changing lives, strengthening communities through personal and business financial education. We are taking a look at the role of regulators and financial institutions, right? So I just want to start off the discussion with Reindorf. Maybe you can set the ball rolling for us. Why is it important to place emphasis on the role of financial institutions and the regulators as well?
Hello. Okay, I think good morning or good afternoon.
It's afternoon now.
So good afternoon to everyone. I think a lot have been shared, right? And when Doc was making his presentation, some of the statistics he shared where we clearly see that for developed economies that place emphasis on financial literacy and the rest, there is...
Wait, I think you should amp your voice a bit so they can hear.
So much of their voice. So for developed economies, we see a correlation between financial literacy and their wealth. All right. So advanced economies are doing well, not just because they are just doing. It's not just because of anything, but one of the contributing factors is the fact that their citizenry are financially literate. Mm-hmm. So therefore, if we bring it home, then for players within the financial system, there is that need, okay, to place emphasis on financial literacy. Why? Because ultimately it benefits them. It benefits them. I have had the opportunity to work with SMEs where certain development finance institutions are coming to Ghana, and the plan is to give them grants and the rest. One of the first things they do is to ensure that these people who qualify for these grants are trained financially. So financial management for all programs that I've happened to be part of. Why is that? Why? I think it was the MC earlier who said, why give an untrained soldier a gun? What are we expecting, right? So they know that they want to give people money to use the money effectively, but the people that they are giving this money to need to be fully equipped to utilize the money well. And therefore, if we bring it back to Ghana and for players within the financial system, whether the financial institutions or regulators, BOG, NIC, SEC, and the rest, there is that they need to know that this is at the core. If the whole financial ecosystem is supposed to survive and thrive, then financial literacy is something that you can't take out. For any financial literacy strategy that you see, one of the key pillars is financial literacy or financial capability of the people. When the people you have are financially literate, they help the financial system to mature. They have confidence in the system, they challenge the system can improve for the benefit of all. So for me, if the players in the system understand that financial literate citizenry ultimately benefit them and the entire ecosystem, then it will become like priority based on all the statistics that we have seen and all that have been shared. So I think it is essential. And so players in the system must focus on this.
Yeah, and Gilbert, I mean, what are some of the challenges that you have discovered when there is a lack of personal financial education and also at the business level? How does this impact individuals, businesses, and the economy?
Thank you very much. I think that I'll cite an example from what I've observed here, which I think that is possibly one of the cardinal problems they face. We have a vibrant senior high school student. I walked around, I see some having notes, and they're not taking notes. I see some of them here just looking at us. And you see, for one to be able to articulatively manage financial issues, it's premised on knowledge, wisdom, and your appetite to acquire it. Be it whether you're educated or uneducated. I've been on platforms to do SME trainings where we had to actually discuss issues in our local dialect in order to ensure that this knowledge is able to go down well for them to appreciate some of these concepts. Most SMEs have challenges with budgeting. They have challenges with savings. They have challenges with how to effectively manage their expenditure. And it's very important. I think that for you to be financially literate, you need to know this. The question is, where do you go to find that knowledge? You can be an SS senior high student, have a parent who may be doing this small buying and selling in the house. This education, as Peter said, has a cascading effect. Your duty is to go and empower. Basic bookkeeping, some do not know. And also basic control measures, some also lack that knowledge. But of course, I always say that we have educated literates and educated illiterates. What you do with the knowledge is very important. And the pillars or the parameters we set for ourselves as a model to assess ourselves is also key. In our communities, the church, the mosque, the Muslims, how are we driving all of these narratives in our society? In my church, I had this objective of having a conversation with my elder. I said, look, you're always having fundraising, collecting money. But the question is, the people you are collecting the money from, how sustainable have their businesses been? It's not about quoting scriptures. So if my business is sustainable, you don't have to talk much. If you need funds, I will give. I only give out of what I've been able to put together. But if there are question marks, then fundamentally, it has a cascading effect on financing within the community. It will affect the church, it will affect the school, and Ghana as a whole. So I see this as a crusade that should be ongoing, all-encompassing. Every medium, to the schools, to the markets, and we trying to ensure that we bring it down to the basic level. If they are not able to speak English, speak Ga. If it's Twi, speak Twi. And I remember we went to Koforidua, and because I'm a Krapping person, we ran the session in the Krapping, and people were happy. We've been to Ho, we had an Ever guy speak the Ever. That is the only way you can empower that financial literacy we seek to achieve. So those are my perspectives. Thank you.
I'm going to ask you, Ramat, about what role financial institutions can play in this crusade he talks about. But I just want to circle back to your concern about the fact that, young people here didn't even seem to be writing, or I don't know whether that is to say they are not really interested in what we are talking about or empowering themselves when it comes to financial knowledge. But could it also be that this challenge is because the knowledge is not presented to them in a way that they can appreciate or that is exciting? Because, I mentioned that, previously, although things have changed in a bit, when it was time for business news, you see people tune up because they feel, this is targeted at a certain caliber of people, and they are not interested. But because of what we've seen in the past with the financial sector cleanup and the ramifications, recently the domestic direction programs, that people are more inclined to listening to what is happening in the financial space. So what could the problem be then?
Great. So it's all about interest. You see, we have self-driven interest and then propelled interest, which could be done through education and also through other mediums. You see, I made mention of the church and some other interest groups within the society. Other than that, you also have your interpersonal development and your quest to know. I think that fundamentally, when it comes to learning today, I don't have the data, but I have that feeling that most of the young folks are not interested in learning that much. They are fixated on the internet. You see, you could be on the internet, but what are you looking at? I used to say that I use YouTube a lot to learn. I had to teach my wife statistics. I did not do statistics in school. So my wife is doing her master's in Charlie statistics. Oh, German. So what did I do? I said, okay, you give me the curriculum, the syllabus. So I picked the topic. I go and sit on YouTube and watch all the videos on the topic. You have Indian presenters, you have but that was the medium through which I was able to help her to successfully manage her statistics course. So what am I trying to say? The young folks today must be deliberate about learning. You see, we can say all of that. That's why I was concerned about when I was walking out, I saw people having books. And a lot has been said. Doc said something interesting. Mr. Uwa said something interesting. Peter has come. And I was walking out. I went around. And when I'm coming back, I still watch. You see, some have the notebooks. They are just there. I'm wondering maybe what they are thinking about. There are different modes of learning. Some may listen and may learn. But at least there should be the conscious effort to put something down. That is the medium. And that is the way to go. If we seek to be generational thinkers and create change, it starts from you and I. You get it? So we have been where you are before.
Right.
And these were some of the things. That's why I said we have self-propelled learning. And the one that I taught in the classroom, why are you here? Always ask that question. Why am I here? What do I see to achieve at the end of the day? Have I achieved that? And the reason you may see all of these people here, Doc and other things, is because they had that thing in their mind. They always ask that question. Why am I here? What can I change? What do I seek to learn? And it's very important that they ask themselves those questions. And I believe that if they do that and they go out, we can then change the narrative. Thank you.
Great. Clearly, we have a problem on our hands, Ramat, and it's not just a problem of young people, even the educated. I remember Mr. Uwa was in our studio. We talked about DDP, and he mentioned the fact that, the victims, if you like, were mostly educated people who should have known better, So I'm just trying to find out from you what or how banks or financial institutions can help address this challenge, get financial education or the knowledge out there, make it more, interesting or appetizing to people to want to learn more about what's happening in the financial space.
All right. Thank you, Daryl. I think that I would like to seize a quick opportunity and still come to our role as financial institutions, to just go over briefly what we're here. Because when you were engaging the students, I think that most people had, almost all of them don't have a wide knowledge regarding the financial space.
Okay, I asked about what the budget is, what interest is.
Yes. Then my colleagues also talked about writing and all. So I think I wanted to take a minute to quickly go through so they could just put something basic down. All right, so you are here basically today to expand your knowledge on how to effectively manage your finances. So you being in secondary school now, you have a way to earn money. How can you manage finances? You can manage finances when you are earning income. So you tell me, I'm not working, so why do I need this? But you need the knowledge ahead because you are in school, And I hope most of you, your aim is to secure a better job in future, if I'm right. So when we started, Ebenezer asked a question, and a University of Ghana student has said that when he was in the university, he had planned, I think 5 years ahead, and this is what he wanted to do. So you have to look at yourself where you are now and where you will see yourself in the future. Even now, you can start the practice with the basic allowances your parents give you. So there are some schools who have visiting hours to be the first week of every Saturday or the last week of every Saturday. So your parent comes in and give you pocket money, probably 200 cedis for the month. Just by the first week, most of you have finished your money and have started borrowing. And pardon me, if we don't take time, some people might, have the idea to steal from their colleagues, okay? So right from this stage, you have to know how you effectively manage those allowances your parents give you, right? You are also looking up to your parents. You've seen what they have done, and you also will have to learn and improve better. So a quick one, when I engage participants that are students, I want to find out from you. I don't know whether you have an idea the plans your parents have for you. But as parents, we need to have plans for our children as well, and that is the sustainability. So my dad is rich today. Most of the time we are talking, my dad used to be rich. Why was he rich and you are not rich now? So the whole sustainability part. And when you come to banking, you come to the banking institution, we have basic products like the trust account. Okay, so when you go back, you can encourage your parents to have an account that when you grow, they can hand it over to you. So if, let's say your parents are to invest, let's say 50 cedis in your trust account now, okay, let's say they did it when you were young up to 18 years. At 18 years, that 50 times a whole year will be 600. 600 times 18, it's going to give you how much? About 10,000 something. I think that at that age, if you come of that age where legally in Ghana you can have an account, and your parents call you and say, hello, Kojo, so you are done with school, you are 18, per Ghana laws, you can have an account by then. This is what I'm handing over to you. How will you feel? Even if it's not 18 and 21 years. So now you've taken care of your child up to a point that you have even given a kind of a seed money to start with. So basically, that is what we are doing. Now, Daryl, back to your question. The role of financial institutions, we have a lot to play. So I think that financial institutions are there to provide you with financial security. So a place where you can invest your money you've gotten, you can save, you can invest your money, and even borrow so you could grow. Because sometimes when you are working, you started working, and how long are you going to save to be able to buy a car? Definitely along the line, you will need support. And thankfully, Dr. Whajah threw a lot of light. We have learned from where we are coming from as financial institutions, because it was, it was surprising to see the data he projected that people, 26% of people have access. Because most of the time, what the banking institutions are looking at is opening banks, having access. So now we are even going into agency banking, because there are some places, we cannot put people there, but through technology, Momo, we can have a presence there. But the education has lagged, and I side with him. So you look at 26% access to finance and 21% default. So it's not all people that have access to finance are financially literate. So being financially literate is very key, because if you don't take time, you will not manage well, you are getting it, and you won't get there. Now, we need to pull everybody along. That is why you are here, because as Peter said, when you are rich alone, you cannot be happy. So you've worked so hard, you bought your nice dress, and you cannot come out of the community. Some people put their dresses they actually want to wear to the program in their cars, because when the people in the community see, they will start talking about you. So we need to pull them along. So when you come out well-dressed, when you want to, have something to do, everybody is in tune and will understand you. So I think that financial institutions have to put more emphasis on advisory. And I think that segment or department is lacking. We need to advise people. And when you also know, you can also question the bank. So you don't go and pick a facility and somebody just, hit you with any charges at all. So I think that's what I will have to add.
Great stuff. I think you can appreciate it. Put your hands together. Yeah. Reindorf, let's talk about the regulators. I mean, what policies can regulators implement to mandate or encourage financial institutions to provide financial education as part of their service offerings?
I think as far as regulation is concerned, for me, it's for them to maybe to look at even Ghana. There are already some regulations. Our issue has to do with implementation, right? So, for instance, in Ghana, there is a National Financial Inclusion and Development Strategy, where you go through, and we've been doing that from like 2009, 2000, so it's there. We create strategies and documents, but no action. Okay, so from regulators' point of view, I think it's just ensuring compliance. So I'm happy that Mr. Y is here. The Bank of Ghana and Co, they are there. So all the sectors within the financial system, and they all have things. They know that financial literate citizenry contribute to the financial management system, right? But how are they mandating the players? If I say the players now, because the regulators would mandate the key actors. So Bank of Ghana will mandate the banks. National Insurance Commission will look at the insurance companies. Then SEC will look at all the other capital and so companies, right? How is compliance? They all have things that encourages the various institutions that they supervise to engage in some sort of financial literacy. But the thing is, yes, maybe for a bank, for instance, they are checking, share your daily returns, do this, they are reporting the rest that they are supposed to file periodically. Who is checking whether financial literacy is very important? So these things are things that we are not seeing, even though we know as important, we are not taking, or regulators are not taking the needed step. Let me just give an example. In the early or late 90s to early 2000s, when Ghana realized that, okay, we wanted the female population to get into education, it wasn't just rhetoric. We started talking, there were a lot of campaigns, and I think a lot of people remember the Send Your Girl Child to School campaign. Wherever whenever you turn on the media, you hear this sound by Send Your Girl Child to School, and that's really resonated. Fast forward, you can see.
By the way, I hear there are more girls in schools.
Yes, that's what I was coming to. Now we may get to a point where we may even have to now encourage the boy child.
Send your boy child to school.
Send your boy child to school, and yeah, because affirmative act is good. We are getting more women, and it's like we are even neglecting maybe the boys. And if you don't take time, we may have to do something for the boys. So it's the regulators ensuring that the players that they supervise do what they are supposed to do. Let this thing be mandatory. So we are in Financial Literacy Month. It would have been nice to hear like all the banks and the rest doing. Just imagine, how many banks do we have in Ghana? I'm just harping on just the bank, about 21 or 23. If all these banks, and look at their network, there are some banks that are all over Ghana. If all these banks decide that just for Financial Literacy Month alone, they will reach out. Can we imagine the impact? Clearly, it will reduce the burden on CFLE significantly. But even when they want to do that, the whole intention is to sell products, unfortunately. So when the banks are, and I know they are not a charity, it's a business.
Yeah.
And that is why I make the earlier point that if we know that you have a financially literate citizenry and it benefits you, then you will go all out and do this evangelism. You will do it because you know that ultimately you will benefit. Okay, so I think for me, if regulators would mandate and say, okay, let's say month of April, Financial Literacy Month, which is Financial Literacy Month all over the world. For that month, let's see action. And people should report specific things that they are doing and the impact. Not just maybe staying in your small corner and what's the impact? I think if that is done and they are all supposed to be reporting and the rest, I'm sure we will get somewhere. So it's enforcement, ensuring that the players are doing these things because it will help the financial system.
Fantastic point. I think you deserve an applause. And I also think that the Ghana Association of Banks deserves applause because they are sponsoring this event. At least they are going out of their way to support the CFLE-Africa do this. So I guess they are interested. But I bet the message is that they should do a bit more. And so, Ramat, I just wanted to respond to that. Is it just about making the money for financial institutions? Is it just about making money?
No, that shouldn't be. That should not, not just about making the money. But as I mentioned, that Doc said, I mean, if we are interested in making the money alone, then at the end of the day, it comes back to hit us. Because, I mean, part of financial product you are lending, and somebody is not well informed, the person cannot pay. Okay, if your NPL position is also large, non-performing loans, it has a ripple effect on the bank. So it's not just about making the money. So I believe that the regulator should ensure that part of our outreach, I think what we do is the advisory, but we should expand the advisory and partnering with NGOs and advocacy group like CFLE-Africa, it's on the right course. Okay, I was interested in the regulator bit, and Doc is here. I think that, Doc, the regulator also has to enhance its knowledge in some of these financial market rates and indicators, okay? So we just know that if you want to invest in T-bill, the current rate now is 15. But how does it come by? Okay, so the whole model to give, yes, it is not exposed. Now, we know it's 15 now. Next month, Mr. Y, it goes to like 16, 17. And it becomes difficult for the investor to plan. Okay, another risky aspect I see is what happened in 2022, where we had inflation going so high. So inflation went to 50, and now all of a sudden we've gone to 23. Are there any studies so that investors don't put their money into investment now, and all of a sudden we see another 10 of high inflation? So I think that the regulator should make these also very exposed. They are there to provide frameworks that will create transparency, okay, and also fair treatment for consumers, customers that will come and buy the product, and also accountability. So they have to make sure that the consumer is safe and can participate in the investment market activities or financial market activities.
Great stuff. And I'm going to open the floor very soon for questions, contributions, comments. But I wanted to find out from you, Gilbert, I mean, what tools can financial institutions employ? I'm sure you offer advisory services so that people become more aware, education goes to them. I mean, Mr. Whajah talked about artificial intelligence. How many of us here know about artificial intelligence? You've heard of artificial intelligence? AI? Okay, quite a number. I mean, these are some of the tools that can easily help. So I'm asking you.
Okay, so I think that when it comes to tools, we need to be a bit cautious. I think we first have to look at developing tools that can resonate with the people or the audience we seek to, or those who seek to use the model. We have AI. I think that on the platforms that I have engaged some banks, we have this SME program we run nationwide. And you could see that these SMEs, or those that are perceived to be down, they are more accustomed with Momo. So how do we drive that model? How do we domesticate it? You see, and it's very important because we tend to use a lot of tools, and it's one thing understanding the tool, and it's another thing using it. So you can bring about tools that can help these SMEs. But if they cannot use it, what have you achieved? Of course, the statistics that we present here, if we are meeting people who are in the SMEs, these statistics are irrelevant to them. They will just be looking at you. If you don't take care, sometimes you'll be talking and by the time you realize everybody is gone. So I think that financial institutions, the regulators must invest heavily in understanding the segmentation of customers that they have. And then through that, they will then be able to develop tools, tools that would help address their problem.
Right.
So Momo is one of the things that has been tried and tested. I think that's why personally, issues of e-levy, and I don't sound to be political, issues of e-levy from inception, when the policy drafters sought to implement such a tax, some of us thought that it's counter-interactive because it kills financial inclusion. You could see that in Ghana, a lot of people are doing business in that space, help it grow, and then do the segmentation, zero in down, and see how you can address each segment's needs. And it even helps me, I'm a tax person, it also helps in revenue mobilization. But we don't have time. You see, we go out there, we talk to the people, and I'm happy you said that, yes, the intention is not to get money, but beneath it is to open accounts. So after opening the account, what next? And that's why possibly we went somewhere and all we saw was a mosque. Yes, so that's just by the way. So you could see that it's one thing opening the account, and it's another thing putting in place better systems to do due diligence. Okay. There are some SMEs that have done this more of focus-driven. You go to the market, you have some market groups. Like Doc, you said, I know some SME companies, I don't want to mention any here, that have such a model. And it is the market women that hold themselves accountable. And it has thrived over the years. Well, they could have some issues. So once you're able to do that, then those solutions are developed, domesticated, they are able to relate to it. When you go to Rwanda, people can now transact business with a phone. Basic, to the basic level. Let people appreciate and understand the very basic things. And I think that if you're able to do that from the regulator's perspective, with adequate funding, because sometimes, you see, what creates the problem is funding. So with adequate funding, with proper government support, proper monitoring and evaluation, and holding people accountable. In Ghana, we have all the laws are there. Yeah. But who is monitoring and who is to be held accountable? So I think that if we have these systems in place, the issue of AI and all of these things can be domesticated to then address their domestic needs for them to appreciate some of these things.
Clearly, there's so much to talk about, but my time is up. I actually have just a minute. So I don't know if anybody has a question, something to ask. Okay, I see a hand there. Quick one. Mr. Suman, can you give me 5 more minutes? Just to take a few comments. 3 minutes. Okay, we'll make it 3 minutes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please, I'm Desmond Kawiwi. Please, when Dr. Eric Boachi-Yadum was giving his presentation, he said something about a lot of people having access to funds, but they do not know how to use it. So my question here is, can he give us, enlighten us on the way for us to invest our finances, and what are the signs we should look out for in scams, companies that are scams when we are trying to invest? Thank you.
Okay, I think I'll put your hands together for him.
Thank you, Desmond. Maybe before Doc comes in, okay. Before Doc comes in, you said Doc's presentation, but I loved Doc's presentation, so I was following. So I'm praying I'm able to help you. That's one. So you mentioned about having access to funds and you know how you can grow it and invest. So there are various investment products, okay, that you can educate yourself on. So basic ones, when you come to the bank, we have the fixed deposit, we have T-bill, there are mutual funds, we have the stock as well, right? Sure. So if I'm saying that, Desmond, so if I'm saying that go into T-bill investment because your money is just sitting in your account. Now when you come to the bank and you have account, if it's current account, you earn nothing on. Rather, we take something little as service charge, right? So why is it there maybe every month 1 cedi goes off? So put it into fixed deposit as an example. So not earning anything at all and probably putting your money into fixed deposit, probably you might earn like 8%, 10%. So a percentage, 8% or 10% of that money over a year, it's appreciate and grow. Okay, that's more. So that is the basic idea about it. Then how you can avoid scams. So that is why during the discussions, we're talking about regulators. So we have banks and we have people that take care of us. So you are in school, you might be in Form 3, Form 2, but you have your school prefect, compound prefect. So we as banks, we also have people that monitor us. So we don't do what we are not to do. You are getting it. They have a page, they have a website, they have certain instructions. So the regulator, that is Bank of Ghana, that takes care of banks, have told you that if you want to invest, check whether the company has regulations or has permission. So if you want to walk into any institution or somebody comes, I can invest your money and give you this, check whether the person is regulated or has the license to do so. If they don't have the license to do so, you don't jump into it. Those that has the license also, everybody and their rate. So you have the freedom to check and know which one will benefit you more. But as an investor, the most important thing when you want to invest, you need to know what you are going into. And you have to know your risk appetite, okay? Don't be too quick to earn. So you have, let's say, 20,000 in your account, and you are thinking about how you can turn the 20,000 to 100,000 in a month. It's not possible. So if you have that appetite, you can easily fall into scams. So that's one. I don't know whether I've helped you with you. All right.
I think she has. Put your hands together for her. Unfortunately, my 3 minutes is up. So if you have any question, just save it. Probably you have the opportunity after the next session. Thank you so much. I want to say a big thank you to Reindorf, Annor partner, Accounting Advisory Services, KPMG, also Gilbert Ado, got it right now, Senior Manager, Deloitte, and to you, Ramat, Ebella, Whajah, Accra, Tema, Zonal Head, National Investment Bank. Put your hands together for our panelists. They did a great job this afternoon. Thank you so much.